Hey everyone, it's Ryzen, and as you can see I'm in the Velvet Room, because it is time to fuse a persona, which means it's tutorial time. And I will link you to in the video description, I'll post a link to a fusion chart on GameFAQs that kind of explains the rules, but I'll go over them here as well. And I'll link you to a topic on GameFAQs that goes over the inheritance rules and the ranks of different abilities that you can transfer over. Now, there's two different options. There are other options later on, but they're for more than 3 personas. But I wouldn't really pay too much attention to those right now because, well, we don't even have those options right now. And when you do have those options, they're essentially just ingredient lists where the game tells you, okay, here's the personas you need, and when you get them, this is what it makes. Although you can't see what it makes until you have the ingredients. But anyway, let's start with a normal spread, which is what I'm actually going to fuse. And I want to fuse Apsaris and Pixie, which will give us... or not Pixie. Angel and Chariot. Or Angel and Pixie, which will give us Aramatama. But say, for example, I chose Pixie and Apsaris. As you can see, that gives me Nekomata. Well, how does the game determine that? Well, you see this the Arcana type there? We have a Lovers and a Priestess. Essentially, the game has a chart system where it takes the two Arcanas and fuses them together, and then it ends up with a certain Arcana type. In this case, a Lovers and a Priestess will give you a Magician type. Other ones will give you different types, like a Justice and a Lovers gives you a Chariot. Justice and a Fool gives you a Lovers. And so on and so forth. That's not dependent on the persona, it's dependent on the Arcana type. But how do you determine what level persona you get? Well, the game has a pretty simple level formula for that. You essentially take the base levels, not the current levels. In this case, the base levels are the current levels, which is 3 plus 2, which would be 5. We divide that by 2, we get 2.5. And then you add 1 to that, and you get 3.5. Well, there's no level 3.5 Magician persona, so the game rounds up to Nekomata, the level 5 persona. You always round up, you never round down. Well, there's one exception to that, but other than that, you round up. Now, triangle fusions are a little different, although they work mostly the same. The way the triangle spread works is it's actually just the normal spread table chart in order to get which two Arcana types will fuse together. You don't actually fuse the 3 together, you just fuse 2. So the way it works is the persona with the highest current level, not base level, current level, is the first Arcana type. So say I'm using Orpheus, and he's my highest level of persona. Well, he would be Arcana type number 1, so that would be Fool. Now say I pick Pixie and Apsaris to fuse together, which gives us the Emperor persona Fornius. Now, the reason I'm getting that is because what the game is doing is it's taking Priestess and Lovers and fusing those two together, which gives us a Magician type. And a Magician and a Fool type gives you an Emperor. Now the level is determined by, once again, adding the base levels together. In this case, it's actually level 1, level 2, and level 3, because Orpheus' base level is 1. 1 plus 2 is 3, plus 3 is 6. Divide by 3, and we get 2. Except for a triangle fusion, you add 5 to that, which would be 7. Now in this case, there happens to be a level 7 Emperor persona, Fornius. If there was not, the game would simply round up to the next Emperor persona. But I'm only level 6, so it's grayed out. I can't fuse that persona because I'm not high enough level to. You are not allowed to fuse a persona or get a persona in shuffle time whose base level is higher than your level. However, you are allowed to have a persona whose current level is higher than your level. Your character level. Anyway, there are a couple of exceptions to this, as I mentioned. Sun, Tower, Fool, Judgment, and Aeon personas can only be fused through triangle spreads. You can't get them by fusing 2 personas together. Unless you fuse 2 of the same type. For example, fusing 2 suns together would give you a sun persona. Fusing 2 towers together would give you a tower persona. And so on and so forth. Oh, I forgot to mention, if in your triangle fusion, if your 2 highest level personas are the same level, the game uses a tiebreaker by taking the persona of the lower arcana type as the first arcana type in the fusion. Fool is the lowest level arcana. The highest level is Aeon. When you do fuse together 2 of the same persona types, you will rank down. I.e., you fuse 2 Fool types, you'll get a lower level Fool as a result of your fusion. If you fuse 3 of the same arcana type, you will get a higher level persona. So if you fuse 3 Fools together, you'll actually rank up. You'll get a higher level Fool persona. The level formula doesn't matter in those cases. And I believe that's about it for the basic formula. Now what I actually want to fuse is Pixie and Angel, and I want to do this now because I actually want to get Angel and Pixie back. Because I actually need to fuse Pixie with Apsaris, and to actually get Nekomata. And I'm going to need to get Pixie back, and since Apsaris is easier to get back than Angel, I'd rather fuse Angel first. Or fuse Angel away first. Especially since I need Aramatama for the mini-boss. Now, you see how I have, well, you have Bash, Rakukaja, Agi, and then in green we have Dia. That's an inherited ability. And the way those work is each persona has a inheritance type. And, I believe Aramatama's strike inheritance. There's no way to check that in-game. You'd have to have a walkthrough. Some outside resource. I think he's strike inheritance. Which means he has to follow the different rules of, well, what a strike inheritance type would. I don't have the rules memorized. But, again, I'll link you to something that'll tell you the rules. But say I was fusing a persona that was a fire inheritance type. Well, I would have a very good chance of inheriting fire-based moves, but a very poor chance of inheriting, say, healing moves. Or less of a chance. And I would have no chance of inheriting wind, ice, or lightning moves. Or skills, as they're called in the game. Each skill also has a ranking system from level 1 through 9. Level 1 skills are easier to inherit than level 9 skills. And obviously the higher ranking you are, the harder it is to get those skills to transfer. In theory. Really not relevant though, because for the most part, you're going to almost always transfer an ability that is matching that inheritance type. So, say you're transferring a level 4 elemental spell, say Ragnarok, to a fire elemental. Chances are, it's gonna transfer. So long as it's on one of the ingredient personas. Yeah, it's a level 9 ability, but that's almost completely overridden by the inheritance type. So I pay almost no attention to that. The big thing is the inheritance type, determining what abilities you can and cannot transfer. And how easy it is to do so. Unfortunately, Atlas and their infinite wisdom has decided that just picking your moves is apparently unacceptable for us. Even though this basically means that this is what you're doing. Say I don't want Dia. Oh, oops. Oh look, now I have Patra. Say I didn't want that. And I could do this infinitely until I got exactly what I wanted. That doesn't make it harder, Atlas, that just makes it more tedious. You're just making it take longer to get what we want. Anyway, the Kamu rank thing in the right there is our social link level, and the bonus experience is the amount of experience you will get. That is not fixed, that is dependent on the persona, and essentially at level 3 we will get 1.5 levels. For every 2 ranks of social link you get, well, 1 level. Which is pretty damn useful, and again you can level past your current level of your character. But you can't fuse a persona that's higher level initially. So anyway, I'm actually going to take a look at what I actually want to transfer onto Aramatama, if anything. Okay, I actually do want to transfer Dia. Now normally if I'm having a hard time getting the move I want to transfer, I'll just do it off screen and I'll show the end result. Dia I do want because, if I recall correctly, I'll want that for the boss. It's level 1 healing spell. Now, Igor's going to fuse them together. Again, in Atlas's infinite wisdom, they have decided that it was a brilliant idea to have a 1 in 64 chance that Igor will drop the cards and give you a random persona with the abilities that you transferred. Yes, you can actually bypass the inheritance system with it, but it's unreliable and often can waste an hour or more of fusing time by just completely ruining the work you did. Yeah, I don't like that. That's really stupid. Rakunda is a defense lowering debuff. Tsukukaja is a hit and evasion buff. They're single targeting attacks. Rakukaja is a defensive buff to a single target. For triangle fusions, it is a 1 in 32 chance that Igor will drop the cards. Really stupid. I don't know who thought that was a good idea, but yeah, that was dumb. If you haven't accepted the request for the Great Beetle, you want to do that now. Because I ended up going so long in this recording, I'm actually splitting this up into 2 episodes, and I'm going to end it off here. I'll just leave the tutorial as its own episode, and on the next episode, we'll explore more of Tartarus. This is Ryzen. Thanks for watching. Take care.